joining us now. We're talking a very serious subject. Let's switch gears and talk a very serious subject.
Health really matters.
It does matter, but at the same time, so does school children safety and what's been going on.
Let me tell
what's
you something.
happening, Jalas.
Let me tell you something. I would easily tell you that kids' safety in school is paramount. And it's something that we cannot in any way try to joke around.
No.
With. You understand?
Yep.
So sad to see the parents
of the
walking
Moi girls.
Moi girls and you're still wondering, was my kid part of the
correct.
inferno?
You saw those.
We lost 8 of them. But again, over the weekend alone, Chuka High School had a fire. Yeah. There was fire.
Yeah. What is this? What is this with the fires?
There was fire again at Sigoti. You can imagine. Very sad.
Yeah. So joining us in the studio now to talk about this, Jalas, and put some perspective, Janet Modoni Oko. She's a governance and education rights advocacy specialist. Janet, welcome to Hot 96.
Oh, thank you very much.
Poleni-san, I mean, it was a tough weekend.
Sure. Yeah.
What is it that causes these children to do what they do, as in start dorm fires? What is that about?
Well, I think I'll just begin first. I know I've done this before, but just to pass my condolences, sincere, of course, to the parents. I mean, and the families and friends, of the students that lost their lives, and also wish those that are at the hospital quick recovery. And there's a group of people I don't like forgetting. I just like putting myself in the shoes of the school managers. I'm imagining the principal, say, of Moi Girls.
Yeah.
She's been at the helm of this school for quite a long time. It's a top-notch school. She's done a lot of work. And then this comes at this time, and of course, probably somebody is saying she could have done this, the school did not do this.
Right.
So really, I like just, being with them and just telling them that really sometimes accidents, just do happen, so that it's really not about you. It's not what about what you didn't do at this time.
Sure.
But just know that we know you've been doing a lot of good work, and we appreciate all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also to the parents, because sometimes at this particular time, of course, there's so many questions going on. And the first point where we stop, all of us, is because accidents can happen anytime. But have schools been able to adhere to the guidelines for safety and security that have been set up, by government?
Yeah.
And then also for parents, when you go to schools, have you ever bothered to know how safe the school is? Have you ever bothered to look at the exit door, for example?
Emergency exits.
Have you ever imagined whether it can open? Those such kinds of things. And I think during visiting days, for example, parents are so preoccupied with sharing niceties with their children and just talking about every other thing. And probably this could just be expanding our scope. What do we need to look for when we go to school? What dialogues do we need to have with our children? Yeah. Especially disturbing reports coming out, of course, from Moi Girls that it could probably have been a suicide.
It could have been a suicide. And that this, apparently the student, the Form 1, had attempted it twice before. So the signs must have been there somehow, Janet. Yeah. The signs.
I don't know where the signs were. Sometimes the signs could have been at home. I don't know what, because now it goes beyond the teacher, really. Because if somebody is coming in the school with suicidal feelings and so on and so forth, and these are girls that reported, I think, on Tuesday. Yeah. And this incident happening was it on Thursday?
On Thursday. Thursday night.
Thursday night. So you're in school for about 3 days or so. And I doubt really there is so much that could have happened in terms of the interaction between the teachers and the learners, because pupils are settling in. So really it raises questions beyond the school. Where has this girl come from home? How is the home scenario like, for example? How did she come to harbor the feelings of, the suicidal feelings and all that? What kinds of support systems that are there? Because sometimes parents, we are being accused of not being very close, to our children. So really, it's a combination of a lot of things. And then, of course, you're looking at the scenario, because accidents do happen. In your car, you have a top of the range, you've belted and everything else, but accidents do happen. Yeah. As and when they happen, how prepared are you? So looking at the situation, at the dormitory itself. And we're digging into so many issues, especially as education rights activists. And we are wondering, how well are our schools adhering to the policy of safety? within schools, so that when it happens, then you have an exit door. Because I could remember some of the children, maybe you were trying to escape through the window, but it's full of grills.
Yeah.
Really. That is not.
But also, I can easily tell you that very, very few parents actually, when they go to school, they even check to such things.
No.
You understand?
Right.
Yeah, anamalizana tu na mwalimu pale wapi at the administration
And you
block.
get in your car.
Mtoto yako ameingia shule, you've paid school fees. Then you let them walk away. Anaenda kwa dome. You've not even seen the dormitory. You've not even seen where your child will be sleeping.
You have not even talked.
You have not even
talked. Not talked.
You understand? And even worse, during these visiting days, they are uko ndani kwa kiwanja uko. You are there with the food that you cooked,
and you bring it.
You bring it with the
you
family.
Have a picnic.
You have a picnic, and you sit there, not even caring out how your child will be after you are gone.
And the other thing is, and that's a good point you make, but last year there was 118 dormitory fires. So the question is, what about drills? Like regular drills in the school. You know, let's have one of these, let's make up a scenario. You know, you pretend there's a fire, and which way do we go? You get up, the kids run this way, they run that way, and there's a meeting point somewhere in the school, right? That makes sense. Do we get those?
You know, I think, you know, sometimes when we talk about the education sector, you know, we cannot escape from the under-resourcing that is there within our schools.
Is it worth lives,
and I've
Janet?
just I've seen today the Secondary School Head Teachers Association, Mr. Indimuli, saying that after the report, remember the time we were doing the examination reforms, there were so many schools that burnt and all that.
Yes.
So there was this report that the Ministry of Education produced, and it demanded that schools adhere to certain safety and security guidelines. So he's today saying that some of those are very expensive for the teachers, you know, for the schools themselves
they can't afford it. And it's true, Jeff. I know you're feeling like it is really you know, so important. Yeah.
But is there anything that can be done, you know, without the resources? No, really, the answer is no. Remember, we are moving to a situation where we are saying we want secondary education to be free for everyone.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the managers of schools, but parents are not paying fees in good time and so on, and then you have all these measures to adhere to. So I'm just saying, can't government, we've got all these resources at the national government, we have all these CDFs, we have the county governments, can't the responsibility of securing a school be taken up by government and not being left to some day school that it is you to be able to manage it? They just can't do that, because you're now relying on whether they have money or not, whether they have the goodwill to do it, whether they're meticulous enough, and so on and so forth. So I think this is one more question that now the Ministry of Education needs to lay its hands on and ensure. And actually, as education activists, we are saying we would want an audit. How is every school sitting within the safety and guidelines of the Ministry of Education? Where are we? That XYZ number of schools have met the guidelines. These ones are being supported to meet the guidelines, and these ones, because so that parents can also be able to know where exactly are they taking their children.
Unfortunately, Janet, it's taken 8 deaths.
Not even 8, because if you trace it back to the Changuli, to the St. You know, the Nyeri High School, and so on, it's really and one of the things that we like asking. Does the Ministry of Education benefit from the feedback it gets from all these reports? You know, how are they implemented? The recommendations of the reports, are they ever implemented? And then do we do reports that are just punitive? For example, in the Moi Girl scenario, you probably find people who are just doing a report to fault find. Right. As opposed to doing a report that informs, you know, the whole spectrum, because there was somebody also who is supposed to supervise and see that that school has met all the safety and security guidelines. So what about them?
It's so sad, you know. You send your child to boarding school. Yeah. Boarding school. They're
There's
13,
just 2
14
days after opening the school.
No, we as a country, and this is not something the ministry, it's not about the ministry, it's about us as a country. I don't think we are serious about this question of boarding schools. Some of my friends have been tweeting me and telling me that, oh no, you know, our school, we have 3 deckers. 1, 2, 3.
Not double decker anymore.
Not double.
It's triple decker. 3.
Yes. So that's why we are saying that the ministry has actually to come up with a standard. Don't tell us that Alliance is in high demand. So we go and kill all our children there? No, just give us guidelines. Tell us that this dormitory can only take 60 as opposed to 300. Because in the case of a stampede, how do 300 children manage out of one exit? Find the buildings have been built in such a way that there is an exit door. But is it open? You know, some schools, especially girls' school, they think that they want to just, safeguard the girls. You know the issues that the girls don't escape through the door. But now when something like this happens, you realize even the door was not open.
See,
Nobody
chained.
knows where the keys are.
Or it's chained.
Or we
Or
have
it's chains.
emergency doors that have never been opened.
Even in companies like this one, you will find there's an emergency door, but there's a car that is mechanically broken down that is parked behind the door.
And it's blocking it.
It's blocking the door. So as and when you need to use that door, it's when you realize, no, this is a death trap.
You know, let's face it, that the dying from smoke inhalation,
It's crazy.
there's nothing as bad as that. Huh? It's sad. It's sad. And it's getting to this point where, it's the worst thing that would happen. And then we take stock. Janet, who do we blame or who do we look to? Where do we turn to say, hey, guys, let's stop and think about this?
It's first and foremost, all of us take the blame. But then it's not practical to say that all of us, because there is somebody called the government that is supposed to regulate our behavior. Regulate our behavior in terms of telling us that this is what is supposed to happen, whether you like it or not. This is the standard way of doing things in this country and in this school. So that, I think, is where the biggest loophole is. And then again, sometimes when I was watching the TV, I was analyzing for Citizen TV, and you could see the television, how people were reacting. Kenyans don't have an idea. Things like probably basic first aid should be life skills. Everyone, I think, should have those skills. But our school system ensures that you walk out of an entire almost 20 years without those skills. So in such an event, you kept seeing the member of parliament for Kibra telling people, get out of here, because we are not useful at that particular time, because we are either mourning or just asking questions.
Yeah, we're in the way.
We are in the way.
We're in the way.
We don't know what to do. You could even see, like, for example, the Sonko rescue team. They are there. Yes, they really want to help. But do they know exactly what are we supposed to do? What should we do? So I think there's some things that should actually now become life skills, that everybody knows what role they can play, including people just volunteer. It's an amazing way how Kenyans, we just don't know how to be useful in a situation. You get there, and then you start becoming a spectator. You could think quickly that people need information, just arranging ourselves and just knowing how to be useful in a situation like that one. I think that those are some of the things that, and even looking at a school setup, for example, a school like Moi Girls, it had about 1,100. So in such a case, you're imagining about if every parent came, and probably every learner has about 2 parents, a relative came, a friend, a concerned Nairobian, so there were about 5,000 people.
The Hot Breakfast with Jeff and Jalango.